Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to solve the fourth question from 058043, extended paper from October-November 2024. Now this question is from mensuration topic. A box contains 50 cuboids. Each cuboid has a mass of 135 grams. The total mass of the cuboids and the box is 7 kilograms. Calculate the mass of the box and give your answer in grams. So let us try to understand the question using a rough figure first. So imagine there is a box inside which 50 cuboids are kept. I have shown just 4 cuboids and the mass of each cuboid is given as 135 grams. Now the total mass of the box and the cuboids together gives us 7 kilograms. So we have to find out the mass of the box. So here first let us find out what is the mass of 50 cuboids which are kept inside this box. So here we have formed a relationship, that is number of cuboids and the mass. So when we consider one cuboid, the mass of each cuboid is given as 135 grams. Now we have 50 cuboids, so we have to find out the mass of 50 cuboids. So it's going to be a cross multiplication method. That is, for one cuboid, the mass is 135 grams. Then for 50 cuboids, what is the mass going to be? So we are going to multiply 50 with 135 grams, giving us the mass of 50 cuboids as 6,750 grams. Now they have given that the total mass of the cuboids and the box is 7 kilograms. So here we have made another relationship, that is the total mass is going to be equal to mass of the 50 cuboids plus mass of the box. Now since we need to find out the mass of the box, we are going to take mass of the cuboids on the left hand side. So we get mass of the box is equal to total mass. Now mass of the cuboids goes on the other side and gets subtracted from total mass. Now total mass is given as 7 kilograms. We have converted it into grams. That is 7 times 1000 gives us 7000 minus mass of the 50 cuboids, we got it as 6750. So 7000 minus 6750 gives us the mass of the box as 250 grams. So this is going to be our answer. Now moving on to the next sub question. A solid cube of side 4 cm is fixed to the base inside an empty cube of side 6 cm. Water is poured into the larger cube until it reaches the top of the smaller cube. Calculate the amount of water poured into the larger cube. So let us try to understand this question by using a rough figure first. So here we have shown the bigger cube of side length 6 cm, whose length is 6, width is 6 and height is 6. And inside the bigger cube, a smaller cube is being placed on the base of the larger cube. And the dimensions of the smaller cube are length 4 cm, height 4 cm and width 4 cm. Now here it is mentioned that water is poured inside the larger cube until it reaches the top of the smaller cube. So we are going to pour the water in this larger cube such that it reaches the brink or the top of the smaller cube. So let me just shade it. So this way. So here we can see that the water is being filled up till the top of the smaller cube. So the amount of water poured is going to be equal to volume of water filled in the larger cube minus the volume of the smaller cube. Now we are subtracting volume of the smaller cube because this is a solid cube, so it has occupied the space. So water cannot occupy the space that is being occupied by the smaller cube. So we are going to subtract it and we have the formula for volume of the cube as. Now for the larger cube we have taken the capitals, that is length times width times height, minus for the smaller cube we have taken length times width times height. So the formula for volume of cubes will be same, but their values are different. So here the length of the larger cube is going to be 6. So we have written 6 times the width is going to be 6 times the height. So we have to take the height till which the water is being filled up. So here it's clearly mentioned that the water is filled up till the top of the smaller cube and the height of the smaller cube is 4. So we have written the height as 4 minus now the dimensions of the smaller cube, that is length is 4, width is 4 and height is 4. Now solving this we get the amount of water poured as 80 cubic centimeter. So this is going to be our answer. The diagram shows a solid triangular prism of length 20 cm. The cross section is an equilateral triangle with side length 4 cm. The prism is made of wood with a density of 0.85 grams per cubic centimeter. Calculate the mass of the prism, and they have given the formula relating density, mass and volume. So here let us focus on the hints given. They have said that the length of the triangular prism is 20 cm and the cross section, that is this face and this face of the prism, is an equilateral triangle. So if this is an equilateral triangle, all the angles are going to be 60 degrees. So this is 60, this is going to be 60 degrees, and this is also going to be 60 degrees. And at the same time, the side lengths are also going to be same. That is, this side is going to be 4 and this side is also going to be 4. So here, let us find out the volume of the prism first. And the formula is volume of triangular prism is equal to base area times length. Now the equilateral faces becomes the base area. So we have used the formula for finding the area of triangle, which is 1 over 2 times A times B times sine C times the length. Now here, A times B are the sides of the triangle. Since it is an equilateral triangle, we saw that the side lengths were 4. So A and B becomes 4 and 4. So here we have written 1 over 2 times 4 times sine C. Now C is the angle between the two sides. So here we can take any of the angle because we know all the three sides. So the angle is going to be 60 degree. So we have written here sine 60 times the length of the prism is 20. Now here I'm not going to solve it. I'm going to keep it as it is because I'm going to use this in the next step that follows. Now in the next step, I'm going to rearrange this formula in such a way that we are going to make mass as the subject. So here rearranging, we get mass is equal to volume multiplies with density. Now here we have been given the density value, that is 0.85. So here we have written 0.85 times the value for the volume which we have got. We have rewritten over here. So let us see what value this gives us. So this will give us the value as 68 square root 3, or in decimals as 117.77. Now I'm going to round it to one decimal place and write it as 117.8. So this is going to be the mass of the prism, 117.8 grams. The diagram shows a solid cone with base radius 10 cm and height 24 cm. Show that the total surface area of the cone is 1131 square centimeter, correct to the nearest square centimeter, and the formula for curved surface area of cone is given, that is pi r L. Now here let us find out the formula for total surface area of a cone. The total surface area of cone is the sum of the curved surface area and the base area, which is a circle. Now let us first find out the curved surface area of the cone using the given formula, that is pi times r times L. Now r represents the base radius, which is 10 in this case, but L stands for the slant height. So 24 is the perpendicular height, so we can consider this as h, and this is the radius r, and here we need to find out this slant height, that is this length. So we can see that it forms a right angled triangle. So let me redraw it over here. Now here redrawing it, we have written the perpendicular height h and the radius r. So to find out the slant height, we are going to make use of the Pythagoras theorem. That is, hypotenuse square is equal to the sum of the square of rest two sides. So slant height square is equal to perpendicular height square plus the radius square. Now taking the square on the other side of equal to sign, we get the slant height L is equal to square root of height square, the value is 24, so it becomes 24 square, plus the radius is 10, so we write it as 10 square. So this will give us the value of the slant height as 26 centimeter. So let us plug in the value of slant height over here. So the curved surface area of cone is equal to pi times 10 times 26. 10 times 26 gives us 260. So here we get the value as 260 pi. Now I'm going to keep the pi as it is over here since it is an intermediate step. We'll be taking its value at the end. Now moving on to the base area. We can see that the base area of the cone is a circle. So we are going to make use of the area of a circle formula. So base area is equal to area of circle, that is pi r square. R is 10. So we have written here pi times 10 square, which gives us 100 pi. Now let us consider this main formula, that is total surface area of the cone. Now total surface area of cone is equal to curved surface area, whose value is 260 pi, plus the base area, which is 100 pi. So let us see what value this gives us. So here we have the value as 360 pi, or in decimals it is going to be 1130.97. Now here in the question it was mentioned that we should be able to get 1131 square centimeter, correct to the nearest centimeter square. So we have to round it to the nearest centimeter square, thus rounding the value as 1131 square centimeter. So let us write here. So this is our answer. So moving on to the next question. The total surface area of the cone is painted. The cost to paint the cone is $1.71. Calculate the cost to paint 1 square centimeter of the cone. Give your answer in cents. So here in the question it has been mentioned that the total surface area of the cone is painted and the cost of painting this area is $1.71. So what is the cost if we are going to paint 1 square centimeter of the area? So we are going to make use of a cross multiplication method over here. So here we are going to make a relationship between the area, that is the total surface area, and the cost. Now here for 1131 square centimeter, the cost of painting was $1.71. Now since we want the answer in cents, I have converted these dollars into cents by multiplying 1.71 by 100 because $1 is 100 cents. So $1.71 is going to be 171 cents. Then to paint 1 square centimeter of the area, what is the cost going to be? So we are going to multiply 1 times 171 and this product is going to be divided by 1131. So let us see what value this gives us. So 1 times 171 over 1131, this is going to give us the value as 0.15119. I'm going to round it to 3 decimal places. So answer is going to be 0.151 cents. So this is our answer. Now moving on to the last sub question. 1 tin of paint has enough paint to cover 2.5 meters square. Calculate the number of these cones that can be painted completely using 1 tin of paint. So here they have given us that 1 tin of paint is enough to cover an area of 2.5 meters square. So here we need to find out how many number of cones can be painted using 1 tin of paint. So first of all, let us convert the total surface area of the cone which we had got into meters square. So the relationship is 1 meter is 100 centimeter. So since we are looking for the meter square, we are going to square on both the sides. So we get 1 meter square and here it becomes 100 square centimeter square. So 1 meter square is equal to 100 square is going to give us 10,000 centimeter square. But here we had the total surface area of the cone as 1131 centimeter square. So converting it into meter square, we are going to multiply this number with 1 and going to divide it by 10,000. That is going to give us the value of the total surface area of cone in meters square as 0.1131 meters square. Now once we have got the value of total surface area in terms of meters square, we are going to take this total area, that is 2.5, and going to divide it by total surface area of the cone this way. So this is going to give us the value as 22.104 or 22 number of cones. So remember, to find out the number of cones, we take the total area that can be painted over the area of the cone to be painted. That will give us the total number of cones to be painted. We have rounded the value of number of cones over here as 22 cones. This is our answer. I hope you have understood all the steps and liked the video. And if you found this video useful, then check out this playlist where you'll find more examples of this kind. And if you're liking my videos, like, share and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.